What's up, guys? Montana with Sawyer's Garage here. Today, we're just going to do some random stuff, I think, around the house. One of the things that I've been wanting to do, basically ever since we bought this place back in May, was pull this swamp cooler out of the garage window here. I can't remember. Okay. Anyways, yes, this is the swamp cooler. Pull the garage down in the summertime. It's currently December. Shouldn't need it for a while. And right now it's letting some cool air into the shop, as well as I don't really want to use the swamp cooler, to be honest with you, because it introduces a lot of moisture and I don't want to rust all my tools. But this is kind of what they had set up. The window, they completely removed like the panes or whatever you call them. And then they've just like put this piece of plywood screwed in, and they've cut this hole out, and they just kind of ran. This is a roof mount swamp cooler that they did some really sweet stuff to, that allows it to be mounted into the window by putting this elbow on it here. So kind of interesting. I didn't want it to begin with. And now that it is getting cold out, this thing just lets cold air right in the shop. I'm going to go ahead and get it pulled out. So, see what that's going to take. Alright, so I'm going to do a little bit of a voiceover here through this next section. Just kind of letting you guys know what exactly it is that I am doing. Right now I'm unscrewing some trim boards they had installed kind of around the actual piece that they had into the window. Kind of goofy the way that they had this thing slammed in there. But anyways, I had to unscrew all of those as best I could. Now I've got the ladder out. This swamp cooler is supported with two chains going up top, higher up on the wall of the garage or on the top of the swamp cooler. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm climbing up the ladder, and I'm going to unscrew those two lag screws. Obviously I can only get to one side at a time, so I'm doing this side first. I'm a little nervous when I'm up there. The ground that I have my ladder set up on is uneven, which I could have fixed, but you know, you just want to get stuff done. But anyways, also I don't know at what point is that swamp cooler going to want to come flinging out of there, because it's kind of weighted really awkwardly with the way that all the weight is sitting outside of the window, because that swamp cooler is not ever meant to go through a window. That 90-degree elbow you see there, I've never seen that done before. I mean, it did work. I don't know how well it worked, but anyways, so I just went ahead. Now I have both sides unscrewed here, and I'm gonna come down on the ground, and I'm kind of nervous at this point because there's nothing else really holding it in besides how it's held up in the window. And so I'm going to kind of come up, get the ladder out of the way a little bit so I don't hit the ladder on the way down. But I'm going to kind of rock it back and forth to figure out what it's stuck on, and it was actually kind of hung up on the back edge of the windowsill. But where I'm at right now is disconnected. As you see, it just fell right out of the window, and there was so much dust behind this unit. It's really windy here in Wyoming, and you can see I actually walk away here because all the dust coming up. The wind was kind of cutting across the side of the garage there, so had to bail out of there. They're using this board as support, and they also have this lag screwed in. So I'm going to go ahead now and pull that board off, that 4x4 there. And now the actual piece that they were put in place of where the screen would have gone, it just ripped right out. Once all those were out, it just came right out. No big deal. And other than that, that's really about it. I will pull some of these pieces of wood out, and then we will move on to the next step. Yeah. On our way to Menards. That is my favorite home improvement store here in my town that I live in. We do have a Home Depot, which is really the only other large commercial home improvement store. We have a Sutherland's, which isn't as big, I don't think. I don't know. There's a couple others we have. But Menards is actually the closest, which is probably how they became my favorite. And I can get everything at Menards. Like I can pick up a frozen pizza, buy a toolbox, buy some pellets for a pellet stove, like everything. So Menards usually my go-to. So we're rocking the Duramax today. We're going to probably have to do a couple hard pulls. For those of you who don't know, Josh here is going to be starting up his own YouTube channel here shortly. And so when he gets that up and running, I think we might work on that tonight. We're going to let you guys know. So if you guys like my content, basically, I don't want to say we're doing the same thing. We're not going to be doing the same thing. But
yeah, no.
I'm involved in the project, he's involved in it. Usually it's vice versa. We're usually, if one of us is doing something, the other one's right there. We've been good friends going back to 7th grade. So we usually are.
Don't ask me how many years ago that is. I forgot. And I suck at math.
So anyways, he's going to have his own channel out here shortly. And like if you guys subscribe to me and you want to see some more things that I'm involved in, with Josh, things that are more his projects than they are mine, and we might collab. Things that post to his channel may also post to my channel. Maybe
oh, definitely.
Edited a little differently, so it's not the exact same thing. But eventually, he's gonna get hooked up with the camera and his own editing and things like that. But in the meantime, he'll just be borrowing mine, and so I'll be involved in it. So we'll get him hooked up on the YouTube as well. I don't know. Other than that, we got a butt ton of freaking projects.
Dude, I lost count of how many freaking Shall we name some?
No.
Yeah, I think you guys can wait for them.
There's a couple that we're excited to get a move on here shortly. I'm just doing kind of some upkeep around the house, some projects that I've been neglecting, and now it's getting cold out. I don't really care about doing outdoor projects as much anymore, so I might as well start knocking out some indoor projects. Sorry, I just decided I'd speed by that guy who was making me nervous. Guess where we're at, guys. We made the long 10-minute drive to Menards. Get to put on our masks and go do some shopping. We got a couple of, obviously, I'm going to be picking up some exhaust fan motors, but there's a couple of things that I filmed today that we're also going to be looking into, or that I'm going to film, that I need to pick up some parts for. So I got to look at a window for the garage. I need to get some drawer slides for a kitchen drawer that is broken. And I got to buy some cereal.
Don't forget ice cream for the wifey poo.
And she needs some ice cream too, so that's the beauty of Menards, you get it all.
I was busy all day, so.
What were you busy doing, Josh?
I was dealing with the freaking VA, doing imaging and
Yep.
Yeah. Stupid stuff.
For those of you that don't know, Josh is a Marine Corps veteran. He served for about 4 years. Well, he did serve for 4 years.
Yeah.
It's about all his body could take. He's falling apart. He's the youngest grandpa I've ever met in my life now.
Hey.
And he's always hurting. So him and the VA get real familiar with each other. But we got to we got to mask up because there's a mask mandate going on now. So we got to mask up and head into Menards. I don't know if they're going to allow us to film or not. So we might just leave that out in the car. But
if anything, I'll stick you in my pocket.
There you go. Have fun in Josh's pocket, guys. We'll see you here in a bit. All right, I found myself a window. I'm kind of going cheap on it this time around because this is what the other two windows in the garage are. Just single pane uninsulated. In the future, I'll probably swap them out, but it's like double the price. And for now, I just need a window put in there. So we'll have a little bit of work ahead of ourselves getting this swapped out, but this will be a step in the right direction. All right, we are back. The next day, we let yesterday get away from us a little bit, but we are going to be swapping out this window today, hopefully. This window has basically a flange that it's screwed into the wall underneath this siding board. So I'm hoping I'll just be able to pull this siding board off in one piece and make it reusable, but you know, time will tell. But I don't know. I can kind of see some of the screws. Like right in there is a screw. Anyways, so that's screwed. The window's screwed in all the way around. So that's going to be my first step. Is going to be trying to pry that board off without ruining it, hopefully. And that will allow me to unscrew the old window, screw in the new one, and hopefully put the board back on. So we'll see what happens. So what I'm actually doing here is it was a really tight fit trying to get that board off over the flange. Not really the flange, but basically the lip of the window. Being the fact that it's getting replaced, I just decided I took a pry bar and a hammer there, or a dead blow hammer, and I'm just busting this plastic off down here at the bottom. And basically that's just going to make it to where I can pull this piece off a lot easier, getting it over the opening there. And so that's all I'm doing. I'm just kind of going down the whole thing and breaking out the big chunks, and I'm going to go and I'm going to take the actual siding board and then be able to wedge it over the top of the window and get it off. And then going back together, I'll have some difficulties there as well, but once the board is off, I can open up the width of the boards to where it'll actually go back over a lot easier. So basically what you're seeing me do right now is I'm about to grab a pry bar so that I can give a little extra push and basically get it past some of those plastic chunks that I didn't get off. But I knew I got enough of it off that it shouldn't hold it up too much. But that's basically all I'm doing. And yeah, I think this next clip I'm going to cut to it. You'll actually see me pulling the whole piece off. I'll be good to go. Alright, so right now I'm actually finding all the screws that are holding the flange in to the garage itself, and just going ahead and screwing all those screws out in an effort of getting that window frame out of the garage. Here you can see I've got all the screws out. They had spray foam insulated around the window, which kind of stuck it to some of that Tyvek wrap that they use, but I pulled it off. That frame is gone, and now I've got a new window that you can see right here. I just have to open it up out of the packaging, and then I'll be ready to go ahead and slide her up into the garage, which is what I'm doing here. I'm setting her in, and then you're going to see here in a second, I'm going to actually check it to make sure that the window is level in both directions. And this window actually fit in there like perfectly. It was actually built pretty tight as far as the tolerances go. There was just a hair of adjustment I had, and so I was able to get it dialed in, but it honestly turned out pretty well.
We're rolling.
Alright, so I'm putting a layer of foil tape around that inner seam, and that should hopefully prevent it from being drafty. They don't want to come in around it. So just gonna put a quick layer of this all the way around, and hopefully that'll help. Alright guys, we got the window in, we got the siding back on, I cut some new trim. She's looking much better without that big swamp cooler hanging out. So I still need to paint that white. We'll see if that gets done this winter or not. But yeah, I like it. Looks way better than this giant swamp cooler hanging off the side of the wall there. So that's one project down. I did also seal off one of my holes that I had where I showed earlier where the old flue pipe for the wood stove ran through. Eventually I'll make that look nicer, removing that, kind of making the inside, framing out the inside so I can screw a piece flush and then paint it. That way it'll look cleaner. But for this winter, that will help help stop some of that cold air from blowing straight in. So I'm excited about that. Otherwise, I'm about to finish that second exhaust fan for my guest bathroom. I bought you saw I did the one. So I went and I got the motor to do the second one now. And I bought some new drawer slides so I can fix the drawer that don't work, that's broken in my kitchen. And yeah, so a couple more projects left to go this weekend yet. We'll get them taken care of and we'll move on to the next ones.